of the IDF, of the Israeli Defense Forces. We will thank to the IDF brave soldiers alliance and endanger their lives in order to protect the state of Israel. Many of them sacrificed for the country that bows its head. Their blood was not vain, because with their heroism they brought this state, and their names will be in the hearts of the nation. President.
There was not a single person on this planet who did more than you to advance peace. Your election to the presidency marked a turning point, not only for the United States, but the entire world. Through your strength of character and unwavering resolve, you brought bloody conflicts in no fewer than 8 regions across the globe. In less than 9 months, the most consequential presidents in history, you saved countless lives that would have been lost. And as our sages teach, whoever saves one life, it is as though he has saved an entire. You have proven that true peace is achieved through strength, and that only those forced in the present can prevent the need to use it in the future. Mr. President, you, more than any other individual, are the highest recognition for your efforts in promoting peace. Therefore, I hereby announce, together with our good friend, Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, we will rally speakers and presidents of parliament to submit your candidacy for the Nobel Prize, Peace Prize, next year. There is no one more deserving than you, President Trump. No one. אדוני הנשיא, אנחנו היסטוריה ברגע...
Mr. President, we are confronting history. It is a very exciting day for a day that we all wished for. In the Jeremiah, it says that from when we hear your cry, there will be a wage for your and from the country of the enemies, and the sons returned to their borders. The book of Jeremiah. I want to wish hostages how happy we are and how good it is that you are back home. The President give us that the God Almighty will bless you, and your family, all those who are dear to you, and will make
God bless the state of Israel. תודה רבה וחג שמח. אני מתכבד להזמין כעת את ראש הממשלה.
I'm inviting now Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister, to say a few words. President Herzog and his wife Michal, and the great honorary guests, and headed by the President of the United States, President Donald J. Trump. To Jerusalem, our eternal capital. Welcome, Israel, in this moving day, exciting day, that will be inscribed in the history of Israel, and you too, Mr. President, will be inscribed in the history of our nation, in the history of the world. And we remember our friends. We know your important part and the determined part of the return of the hostages in this. When we were informed today, an hour ago, that all hostages returned back to us. What excitement! How long we've waited for this moment, and we have committed to return everyone. Personally, and on behalf of the whole nation, thank you, Mr. President, President Trump. Thank you, Mr. President.
Sure about the translation. So I'll say words in English. President Trump, Knesset welcomes you and your distinguished delegation to Jerusalem, our eternal capital. This is your first since you recognize Jerusalem as our capital and moved the embassy here. Thank you, President Trump, for that. There are many other reasons to thank you. Let's visit here. Thank you for recognizing Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. Thank you for standing up to the lies against Israel in the United Nations. In your 2020 peace plan, our rights in Judea and Samaria, the ancestral homeland of the Jewish people. Thank you for brokering Abraham Accords. Abraham, Eskemei Avraham. Thank you for withdrawing from the disastrous Iran nuclear deal. Thank you for supporting Rising Lion and for your bold decision to launch Operation Midnight Hammer. Boy, is that... This is the most ever named for a military operation, because a little after midnight, you really hammered them. My friends, this is only a partial list. I've said time and again, Donald Trump is the greatest friend that the state of Israel has ever had. No American has ever done more for Israel. And as I said in Washington, it ain't even close. It's really not. Mr. President, today we welcome you here to thank you for your pivotal leadership that got the backing of almost the entire world. A proposal that brings a proposal that ends the war by achieving objectives. A proposal that opens the door to an historic and beyond our region. Mr. President, you are committed to this peace. I am committed to this peace. Mr. President, we will achieve this peace. We've done it. We've done it before in the Abraham Accords, and we'll do it again. Mr. President, today the Jewish calendar marks the end of 2 years of war. That war began on October 7th, festival of Simchat Torah. You always tell me, and you tell the world, remember October. Mr. President, we remember. We remember the thousands of Hamas terrorists. We remember the 1,200 people Hamas savagely slaughtered in cold blood. Millions of Americans. We remember entire families burnt alive as they embraced. We remember the beautiful young Israelis brutally gunned down at the Nova Music Festival. Remember the hundreds of our citizens who were dragged into the dungeons of Gaza, including 12 Americans, men and old, babies and elderly Holocaust survivors. My friend Donald, these monsters take babies as hostages. This barbaric attack on October 7th, Israel did what it had to do. With indomitable courage, to defend our people, to defeat our enemies, and to release our hostages. Our heroic soldiers fought like lions. They fought on the front lines of civilization and barbarism. Israel achieved and the entire Iran terror axis. Sinwar, Dev, Hania, Nasrallah, on. Iran's ballistic missile program, with your enormous help, Mr. President, rolled back. Half the Houthi leadership But the price of this victory, the price of these victories, has been heavy. Nearly Israel's finest were lost, nearly half in battle. They left behind parents, spouses, and children. Their love and laughter, their promise and potential were lost forever. To the families of our fallen fighters, many of them are here, I say, I know the inconsolable grief for the rest of your lives. The State of Israel bows its head in eternal gratitude. Because of these heroes, our nation will survive. Because of these heroes, nations will thrive. And because of these heroes, our nation will have peace. Mr. President, thousands of our brave soldiers were also wounded, suffering terrible blows. Brave soldiers like Ari Spitz. Ari is an American. Ari is an American Israeli who was injured Ari is an American Israeli who was injured in Gaza while searching for Hamas terrorists. 2 of Ari's comrades were killed in this action and 10 were injured. Ari was presumed dead. Miraculous recovery despite losing 3 limbs. Ari, for a minute alone, stand up. There you go. There. Ari, spirit of Joshua, you are the spirit of David, you are the spirit of the Maccabees, you are the spirit of Israel. I salute you. We all salute you. Sabine Tassa of Kibbutz Netiv HaAsara is watching us today from the Israeli consulate. Sabine lost her husband and her oldest son on October 7th. She is the mother of 3 other boys. 2 of them, Koren and Shai, witnessed their father jump on a Hamas to save his 2 sons. We all saw the film of those 2 boys out in pain. Father is dead. Why? Why did God say? Mr. President, my friend Donald, I've seen some very tough things in my life. Couldn't bring myself to watch those boys suffering again. So I didn't see this. Yet Sabine, their mother, has had the strength and fortitude to film across the world. And my wife Sarah and I asked her, Sabina, why do you do it? And she answered, I do it to show the monsters Israel is fighting and the justice of our cause. This is what she's doing once again in Los Angeles. Hear me now. So I want to tell you on behalf of all of us, You embody the spirit of our biblical heroines, Ruth and Esther. You too are the spirit of Israel, and we all salute you. Mr. President, you asked me on our many conversations during the 12-day war with Iran, you asked me, how are the people holding up? And I said to you, our people are strong. It's lions with unlimited resolve to defend our country and secure our future. The people gives, and the people give strength to me and to my colleagues. The Jewish people have risen from the ashes time and again. But when we formed the State of Israel and the Army of Israel, we pledged never again, never again, defenseless against our enemies. And that resolute strength not only it assures our future, it assures peace. We have paid a high price, but our enemies now understand just how powerful and just how determined Israel is. They understand that attacking Israel on October 7th was a catastrophic mistake. They understand that Israel is strong, Israel is here to stay. And this, Mr. President, is the indispensable foundation of peace. Peace. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a momentous day, a day of great joy. Hostages come home. My wife Sarah and I have met with the hostage families many times. There were no words to describe, only tears of bottomless sorrow and unimaginable pain. At the beginning of the war, all the hostages home. Today, with the indispensable help, the determined help, the unremitting help of President Trump and his team, and with the incredible sacrifice of the soldiers of Israel, we are fulfilling that promise. It has been a long journey to get here. In the first week of the war, our brave soldiers put pressure on Hamas, and the international community put diplomatic pressure on them. This enabled us to secure the release of 100 hostages. In heroic rescue attempts behind enemy lines, Israel's special forces rescued 8 lives and brought back the remains of dozens more. But as time went on, we all know what happened. Was turned on its head. More and more governments bought into Hamas's false propaganda. More come to anti-Semitic mobs in their own countries. They just turned on Israel. They called for us to surrender to Hamas. Gaza immediately, they said, end the war without committing to disarm Hamas, without committing to demilitarize Gaza. Israel succumbed to those demands. Not only would Sinwar, Nasrallah, Assad, and Iran's missiles be attacked. Not only that, because in no time, the Hamas killers would be back on the border to repeat the horrors of October 7th again and again, as they vowed to do. But just at that point of maximum pressure on Israel, a man named Donald J. Trump was elected. Overnight, everything changed. Everything.
We felt it right here.
Mr. President, thanks to your unequivocal, We secured a second hostage deal within weeks of your election. And in the months that followed, to forge a path to bring the remaining hostages home and end the war. End the war in a way that ensures the disarming of Hamas, the militarization of Gaza, and that Gaza would never again pose a threat to Israel. 2 months ago, you fully backed into the last Hamas stronghold in Gaza City. You shared my view that this military pressure would help free, and despite all the criticism, all the naysayers, we were right. Hamas caved in. And 2 weeks ago, you succeeded in doing something miraculous. You succeeded in doing something that no one believed was possible. You brought most of the Arab world, you brought most of the world behind your proposal to free the hostages and end the war. Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, and Ron Dermer for their great And I want to thank our negotiating team. Between the two of us, between our two nations, combining Israel's military pressure, Trump's unmatched global leadership. I have to tell you, I've seen a lot of American presidents. I've seen them all. I've been here, and I've been here quite a lot of time. I've never seen anyone move so decisively, so resolutely as our friend President Donald J. Trump. With our military and President Trump's global leadership, we achieved this historic moment. It's a moment of indecision as our nation embraces our sons who are coming home. Mr. President, this week, Jews around the world are going to read the book of Ecclesiastes in the Bible. The Bible has many miraculous moments. One of them was your decision to bomb Fordo. I think it was a pivot of history because it wasn't meant only to bomb Fordo. That action of taking out Qasem Soleimani, the architect of death, I think that changed the balance of power in the world. You brought America back again. Now, I said that we're going to read the book of Ecclesiastes. It's not a book of action. It's a book of thought, a perspective on life and on death. And in this book we read the Solomon. To everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven. Milchama ve'et shalom, a time for peace and a time for war. The last time of war. The coming years will hopefully be a time for peace. Peace inside Israel and I look forward to continuing on the path we paved together with the Abraham Accords. Under your leadership, new peace treaties with Arab countries in the region and Muslim countries beyond the region. Together to build a better future, a future that will unite civilization against barbarism, darkness, and hope against despair. And my friends, I believe that with President Trump's leadership, this will happen a lot faster than people think. As Prime Minister of Israel, I extend my hand to hold those. No one wants peace more than the people of Israel. Israel will always remain vigilant, and Israel will always remain full of hope. Hope is our national anthem. Hope is our strength. It is time, my friends, to realize that hope and expand the circle of peace. But I want you to get the Israel Prize, our highest award, to our greatest friend. When others were weak, you were strong. When others were fearful, you were bold. When others abandoned us, you stood by our side. On behalf of the government and people, thank you for your extraordinary friendship. Thank you for bringing our hostages home. Thank you for supporting Israel's march. Thank you for paving a path to peace. מכובדי נשיא ארצות הברית, ידידי דונלד, ברוך הבא לירושלים, ברוך הבא ביום המרגש הזה, שהחיינו וקיימנו לזמן הזה. May God bless you, President. May God bless America. May God bless Israel. And may God bless the covenant to promised lands. Thank you, Mr. President.
The President.
Come on up. Position.
Yeah.
Okay. אני מתכבד להזמין כעת את ראש האופוזיציה, חבר הכנסת יאיר לפיד.
members of Knesset, ministers, President Herzog, Prime Minister Netanyahu, distinguished guests, Your Excellency. For 2 years, we waited for this moment. 2 years, sleepless nights, 2 years without air in our lungs. Our eyes are filled with tears today, our hearts are filled with gratitude, our children are coming home. In the Babylonian Talmud, a sacred book of the Jews, written, whoever destroys one life, it is as though he destroyed an entire world, and whoever saves it is though as he has saved an entire world. Mr. President, you have saved the lives of our but you saved so much more of the bereaved whose loved ones now will be brought home for burial. You have saved thousands of who will now not fall in battle, and you have saved millions from the horrors of war. You have saved more than one life, and each life is an entire world. This is a and a reminder that history is shaped by people. It is shaped by those who know the past, vision to change the future. When you were elected, you declared that you would be the president of peace. The fact that you were not awarded the Nobel Peace Prize is a grave mistake by the committee. But they will have no choice, Mr. President. They will have to award it to you next year. Peace will not come by waiting. It will come by reaching out and by daring once again to believe. You, Mr. President, have done the unimaginable. We're grateful. But we also need to take responsibility. The destiny of Israel will always be real. We must now prove ourselves worthy of what has been achieved. From its founding, Israel, that our strength, our power, rest upon our values. Israel is a country in the Middle East because we are the only democracy in the Middle East. Because we believe in the principles laid in our Declaration of Independence, which says in complete equality of social and political rights to all its inhabitants, irrespective of religion, race. It will guarantee freedom of religion, conscience, language, education, and culture. It will safeguard the holy places, religions. Those are our values. That is who we are as people, as our neighbors must understand one more thing about us. We are not going. The Middle East is our home. We are here to stay. It did not end in the Bible. It began there. It continues in our laboratories and universities, in our innovation hubs. Hezbollah, Iran, and the Houthis, they all read the wrong intelligence reports. The real intelligence, Israel's intentions, is found in the book of Genesis. And I will give you and the land of Canaan for an everlasting possession. We call upon the nations of the Islamic world, on all our neighbors, Saudi Arabia, Syria, they are here. We can do great things together. Come and talk to us. Mr. President, you are the one who can meet with the historic Abraham Accords. Then too, no one believed it was possible. Then too, you imposed on everyone. While others spoke of difficulties, you created opportunity. You can be the one wave of peace. The people of Israel support this. They want this. We are. And you can later today in Egypt with your unbelievably talented friends, Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, Marco Rubio, Pete Hegseth, forge a regional alliance. It's not only the Middle East, but the entire world. After 2 years of war, the peoples should look around and ask themselves, whose situation is better? Those who chose the path of peace, the path of war. Those who invested in their people, in the education of their children, in science and technology, or those who invested in hate and in violence. From here to all those who demonstrated against Israel these past 2 years, on the streets in Paris and in Columbia University. I do not represent the government. As you know, I am the leader of the opposition. And you were deceived. You were deceived. Propaganda experts funded by terror prompted you. Now that the war has stopped, you have time and a chance to go and learn the facts. The truth is, side. No intentional starvation. The truth is, there was an army and a country fighting in the most complicated conditions against terrorists who send their own children to die for a follow-up, who use their own children as human shields. That a democratic state was attacked by a fanatical terrorist organization. 1,200 people were killed, raped, babies were burned alive. And all that, on all the while, they played with your minds. Absurd idea that supporting Islamic terror is somehow a liberal value than evil in this world. When you stand with Hamas, you stand with evil. When you stand with Hezbollah, you stand with evil. When you stand with evil, when you stand with Israel, you stand on the side of justice. Last week I attended the 7th October. An inspirational woman called Galit Dan spoke on stage. Galit had a 13-year-old girl who was autistic like my daughter. And Noya was full of light. On that dark day, Noya was sleeping at her grandmother's Carmela's house in. Carmela was 80 years old. Their bodies, grandmother and granddaughter, embraced. They were murdered together. On stage at the ceremony, Galit said a sentence of the soul. We don't want revenge, she said. We want redemption. Today, Israel has endured 2 terrible years on the battlefield and in the international arena. Also rediscovered our own greatness. We remember how good we can be, our pilot, control of the skies over Iran, our industries leading the world in technology, our civil society. out to help every victim of the war. We will move forward toward a different future. Those who saved us all will fold away their uniforms and rise as teachers and engineers. Technologies to American markets, it is the State of Israel. Israel's future is intertwined with our eternal alliance, our strategic and moral covenant with our greatest friend. This war is over. We will always need to stay to guard against those who seek our destruction. But the State of Israel is about to reinvent itself. Ahead demand not only strength but a new vision. It's time to take a new path, to be advanced and thriving and peace-seeking. We have waited for this moment, for the hostages, for the chance to rechannel our grief and loss into the energy needed to rebuild. Thanks to you, Mr. President. Thanks to our soldiers, our lions. Thanks to the millions of great who filled the streets and the square and never, not for one moment, gave up on the hostages. Succeed and build a future and for our children. Thank you very much. God bless the United States of America. Am Israel Chai.
אני מודה ועכשיו, members of the Knesset, it is now my distinct honor to invite the President of the United States of America, His Excellency Donald J. Trump, to address
Thank you very much, everybody. It's a great honor. Nice place. Very nice. Mr. President, Mr. Speaker, esteemed members of the Knesset and cherished citizens of Israel, we're on a day of profound joy, of soaring hope, of renewed faith, and above all, a day to give our Almighty God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Years in darkness and captivity, 20 courageous hostages are returning to the families, and it is glorious. 28 more precious loved ones are coming home at last to rest soil for all of time. And after so many years of unceasing war and endless danger, the guns are silent, the sirens are still, and the sun rises on a holy land that is finally at peace. A land that will live, God willing, in peace for all eternity. This is not only the end of a war, this is the end of death and the beginning of the age of faith and hope and of God. It's the start of a lasting harmony for Israel and all the nations of what will soon be a truly magnificent region. This is the historic dawn of a new Middle East. I want to express my gratitude, courage, and patriotism, whose partnership did so much to make this momentous day possible. There's only one, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Bibi, please stand up. And he is not easy. I want to tell you, the easiest guy to deal with. But that's what makes him great. That's what makes him great. Thank you very much, baby. Great job. And let me also convey my tremendous appreciation to the nations of the Arab and Muslim world that came together to press Hamas to set the hostages free. We had a lot of help from a lot of people that you wouldn't suspect, and I want to thank them very much for that. It's an incredible world to have all of these nations working together as partners in peace, and it's pretty unusual for you. Happened in this case. This was a very unusual point in time, a brilliant point in time. Generations from remembered as the moment that everything began to change, and change very much for the better. It will be the golden age of Israel and the golden age of the Middle East. It's going to work together. I'd like American patriots for their valuable help in getting something done that almost everyone thought was absolutely wasting our time. So many people said, you're just wasting your time. But we weren't, because we had talented people working. We had people that loved your country, and frankly, people that love the region. They love the Middle East. I thank my friend. You know, Steve he never did this before, but I knew him as a few things. He was a great businessman, but I know a lot of great business. He had tremendous negotiating skills, but I know a lot of people that negotiate pretty well, although it is an art. Can negotiate pretty well, but most importantly with Steve, he's just a great guy. Everybody loved him. I mean, I know some negotiators that are so at peace in the Middle East. Would be in World War III right now with some of these guys. Everybody loves Steve, and they somehow can relate to him. I've known him for many years, and I've seen it over over and over again.
להוציא אותו מהאולם. להוציא אותו מיד, החוצה, החוצה. החוצה. להוציא גם את חבר הכנסת כסיף. להוציא את חבר הכנסת כסיף מהאולם. להוציא אותו. Sorry for that, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Please.
That was very efficient. So back to Steve. He's But I tell one story because he was so involved, and then we called in Jared. We need that Jared in here. We got to get a certain group of people, but Steve started this all by himself. I call him Henry Kissinger. Okay? Henry is a big leaker. He leaked. Steve doesn't leak. Steve just wants to get the job. That's right. But I'll give you just a quick story because, as you know, he's working on the war with Russia and Ukraine. The president, a shame. 7,000 young soldiers a week are being killed. More than that this last week. It's never happened, but it did happen, and we won the race, and I took over this horrible war that's been raging. And, easily settled. I thought it was a hell of a lot easier than doing what we just did very successfully for the people. But this came first, and we'll get that one. But I set up a meeting for him to meet with President Putin. It would be a 15 or a 20-minute meeting. Steve had no idea about Russia, had no idea about Putin too much, didn't know too much about politics. And he was really good at real estate, but he had that quality that I was looking for, and I didn't see it around in too many ways. And I called, I said, is Steve finished yet? It was about a half an hour into the meeting. No, sir, he's not. He's still inside. I said, well, how's he doing? I don't know. He's still inside. I called up an hour later. Let me speak to Steve. Sir, he's still with Putin. President Putin. I said, wow, that's a long meeting, 1 hour. I called up an hour later. He was still with Putin. 3 hours later. 4 hours later, he started to get the word that he was going to be coming out soon. And in 5 hours, he came out. What the hell were you talking about for 5 hours? And he says, just a lot of interesting things. We talked about interesting things, including what he went in there for, but you can't talk about it for 5. You can talk about it for a certain period. But that's a talent. That's a talent where you can do that. Most people I'd send in, number one, they wouldn't be accepted. Number two, if they were, he would last 5 minutes. And that's what happens with Steve. Everybody loves him. They love him on this side. They love him on the other side. He's a great negotiator because he's a great guy. So thank you very much, Steve. Very much. And let me also give a very special thanks to someone who truly loves it. In fact, loves it so much that my daughter converted. I didn't know this was going to happen. And Ivanka's here. And Bibi, you do know this was not in the... And she is so happy, and they are so happy. At least I think they're happy. If they're not, we have a big story. Now, they have a great marriage, and they get along great. They're best friends. They have a very special relationship. But Jared has been helpful. He really did something very special. He established the group of very wonderful people. I like calling it the Avraham Accords, because people that, right? Avraham. It's so cool. It's so much, you know, the Abraham versus the Avraham. I just don't want to sound too sanctimonious when I do it, so, you know, I sort of split. That's where we keep everybody happy. But we have some very great talent, and they have no anything that's taken place because we had some unbelievably good people working on this. And then you're going to add Marco Rubio, who is also here. That's right. And I have a prediction that Marco will be the greatest Secretary of State in the history of the United States. I believe that. I believe it. And he and I, you know, we really fought it out. You remember, he was tough. Who the hell thought this was going to happen, Marco, right? And now I'm saying he's going to go down as the greatest. He will. He was always smart and sharp, and people respect him. And then we have somebody who's young, unbelievable leader. I saw it a long time ago, and he's turned out to be even better than we thought. Right, Susie? I think even better. That's Pete Hegseth, who is our Secretary of War, formerly Secretary of Defense. And as you know, we decisively won World War I. We decisively won World War decisively. And everything in between and everything before it, we won everything. And then if changing the name from war, you know, it was war, to defense. And with that, and we fought in a very politically correct way after that. Strongest military, and now we have a stronger military than before. Because of my first term, I've totally rebuilt military, every aspect of it. But we have 8 wars, 8 months. I'm now including this one, by the way, if that's okay. They may say, because yesterday I was saying 7, but now I can say 8. The hostages are back. The hostages are back. It is a good feeling. Isn't that nice to say? You know, I just said the hostage. First time I said the hostages are back. It sounds good to say it. But when you settle 8 wars in 8 months, that means you don't always going to be brutal. In fact, remember Hillary Clinton during a debate, she said, look at him, he's going to go to war with everyone. Actually, she said, he's got a personality that's all about war. No, my personality actually is all about stopping wars. needs to work. But it also means this attitude that we're not going to go into a war, but if we do, we're going to win that war like nobody has. Or we will not be political. The military and I can tell you, we have weapons that nobody's ever dreamt of. I hope we never have to use them. I rebuilt the military. I was proud to do it, but some of the things I hated to do, I hated certain of the weapons because the level of power is enormous. It's so dangerous, so bad. But we have to do what we have to do. We make the best weapons in the world, and we've given a lot to Israel, frankly. And can you get me this weapon, that weapon, that weapon? Some of them I never heard of, baby, and I made them. But and they are the best. They are the best. But you use them well. It also takes people that know how to use them, and you obviously. But so many that Israel became powerful, which ultimately led to peace. That's what led to peace. So as we celebrate today, let us remember how this nightmare of depravity and death all began 2 years ago on the eve of the Simchat Torah holiday. Thousands of innocents were attacked by terrorists, and one of the most evil and heinous desecrations of innocent life the world has ever used since the Holocaust. The cruelty of October 7th struck to the core of humanity they were witnessing. The United States of America grieved alongside you, and we mourned for so viciously taken that day. And to all the families whose lives were forever changed by the atrocities, all of the people of Israel, please know that America joins you in those two everlasting vows, never and never again. October 7th until this week, a nation at war, enduring burdens that only a proud and faithful people could withstand. It was a very time. For so many families across this land, it has been years since you've known a single day of true peace, not only for Israelis, but also for Palestinians and for many others. The long and painful is over. And as the dust settles, the smoke fades, the debris is removed, clean from the air, the day that breaks on a region transformed and a beautiful and much brighter within your reach. This is now a very exciting time for Israel and for the entire Middle East, because all across the Middle East, the forces of chaos, terror, ruin that have plagued the region for decades now stand isolated and totally defeated. A coalition of proud and responsible nations is emerging. Of all civilization are in retreat, thanks to the bravery and incredible skill of daily Defense Forces and Operation Rising Lion. Guys, let's put him in a movie. Look at him. Great job. And my people loved working with you. Loved it. They work so well together. But many of Iran's top terrorists, including nuclear scientists, distinguished from this earth. And with Operation Midnight Hammer, boy, that's a great name for that. Soon. The United States military flew 7 of those beautiful B-2 bombers. They were always, I thought they were pretty planes. I had no idea they could do what they did. In fact, we just a little updated version. We ordered a whole pile of them. 100 other planes went with them, including fighter jets. And we had 50 tankers, big, beautiful, brand that were loading them up 4 or 5 times. They've traveled 37 hours back and forth. Think of that. But we had tankers all over. We had the F-22s, the F-35s, F-16s. We had a hell of a lot of planes. So we had 52 gas stations in the sky. That's what they call them. One of them, we have our great General Raisin Cain right here. General, stand up. This guy. What a... Thank you. I said, you know, we're having problems with ISIS. I was in Washington, and I asked how to defeat ISIS. And my Washington general told me, 3, 4, maybe 5 years, sir. I said, I don't get it. We got the world. Why? So I flew to Iraq, and I met with a man named Cain. He said, what's your first name? He said, wait a minute. Your name is Raisin Cain? I've been looking for you for a long time. So they told me 3, 4, 5 years to defeat ISIS. And I sit down with him and I say, why is it? I flew there. Of night I landed. I'll never forget it. It's quite a trip. I'm glad I made it because I met him. I said, could I ask you, General? I come the general and a sergeant. Everybody was like central casting. They could go into a movie now. Between him and you guys over here. He's okay. And they get along so great. That's the beautiful thing, that your military and our military, Bibi, got along. But I was told by the television generals in Washington, why is it taking so long? And they said, 4 years. I said, so let me ask you, Raisin, defeat ISIS. Sir, we can do it in 3 weeks, but you'll probably have some time left over. I said, you gotta be kidding. What the about? They said 4 years. I said, well, sir, look, it's not my place to say, but you're asking me to. What you have to do is you hit him from the west, you hit him from the north, you hit him from the south, you hit him above, you hit him below. And he didn't want to speak badly of his superiors, which is hard to believe they were his superiors. Should have been the other way around a long time. He's the one that did Operation Hammer. It was flawless. It was flawless. It was absolutely flawless. And I said, so you really think you can do it in 4 weeks? Yes, sir, 100%. You have to do it differently than they were doing. Hundreds of miles away. And he says, we have all these portable bases all over the Middle East. And they didn't want to use them because defend the country where the portable, they wouldn't have even known what the hell the planes were going up, right? They wouldn't have known. But he said, no, they don't offend anybody. And but we can do it in 4 weeks. I said, you sure about it? I'm going to call you back. I'll call you back. Washington. But you think 4 weeks? Yes, sir, I think we can 4 weeks. We'll have time left over. So I call him on Monday. I say, 4 weeks. I said, go ahead and do it. He did it. He did it in 4 weeks, less than 4 weeks. So, General, stand up, please. Again, this is a real general. This is not a television general. He doesn't want to go on television. He doesn't want to go on television. I love being on television. So we dropped 14 bombs on Iran's key nuclear facilities, totally obliterating them. And that's been confirmed, and everybody understands it. Together we the #1 state sponsor of the world's most dangerous weapons. And if you think about it, if we didn't do that, and assuming the deal that we have today, there'd be a dark cloud over this deal. And #1, it wouldn't happen because Muslim nations really wouldn't feel comfortable making the deal that we have now, right? If Iran had that nuclear weapon from having, they would have had it in 2 months or maybe less than that. They were right at, this was our last shot. They looked at it for 2 years. This was our last shot. The pilots told me that. They said, 22 years, sir. They looked at it. Our predecessor, looked, they said, a year would do drills on that exact. And boy, did they get it right. But let's assume they didn't, and let's assume there was nuclear weapons in the hands of Iran. We wouldn't be here today. Even if we signed the deal, which we couldn't do because we don't want to have anything to do with it. We took a big cloud off of the Middle East and off of Israel. And it was my to help. But it isn't it true, though, that can you imagine the same, let's assume, Bibi, the same documents, but you had somebody out there that was, in the opinion of everybody, all powerful in the Middle East. Didn't they take a big hit? Boy, oh boy. They got hit from one side, from the other. And you know it would be great to deal with them, and I think that's big. Would you be happy with that? Wouldn't it be? Because I think they want to. I think they said, sir, they're starting their nuclear program again. I said, let me tell you something. They're not starting anything. They want to survive. The and mountains that just got blown up and start, they're not doing this. They want to survive, okay? But I think with you and I think Jared, come on, I'll call you back for another one. We always bring Jared when we want to get that deal. You and Jared and the General and Pete and Marco, you'll get that deal done. I think that'll be easy. But first, that one done. If you don't mind, Steve, let's focus on Russia first, all right? We'll get it done. Lebanon, the dagger of Hezbollah, long aimed at Israel's throat, has been totally shattered. My administration is supporting the new president of Lebanon in his mission to permanently disarm Hezbollah's terror brigades. He's doing very well. The thriving state at peace with its neighbors, and you're very much in favor of that, I know. And things are happening there, really good things. And with this week's ceasefire, we've achieved the most challenging breakthrough of them all. Ever. I mean, I've never seen anything like. I've been involved in a lot of success. I have never seen anything like what's going on today. Dancing in the streets, not just in Israel. They're dancing in the streets of countries that would have never danced in the street of happening today. They're dancing in those streets. So this long and difficult, you know, some people say 3,000 years, some people 500 years, whatever it is. It's the granddaddy, an unprecedented achievement. Virtually the entire region has endorsed the plan that Gaza will be immediately, Hamas will be disarmed, and Israel's security will no longer be threatened. So Israel, with our help, has won all that they can by force of arms. You've won. Now it's time to translate these victories against terrorists on the battlefield into the ultimate prize of peace and prosperity in the Middle East. It's about time you were able to enjoy the fruits of your labor, Mr. Opposition. Very nice opposition. No, he's a nice man. Bibi, he's a nice man. He knows what he's doing, right? Nah, he's a very nice guy. Well, see, now you can be a little bit nicer, Bibi, because you're not at war anymore, Bibi. But only by embracing the opportunity we achieve our goal of ensuring that the horrors of recent again, you don't want to have to go through this again. 8 years on a very special first trip abroad as the President of the United States. I came here very early at your request. The leaders of the Arab and Muslim world gathered in Saudi Arabia and said that it was time to build a future free of extremism and terror. And interestingly, right now, as soon as I'm finished, I'm quite late. You've kept me quite late between opposition. Brilliant but very long speech. I thought I was going to run up here, make a speech, and then head to Egypt. It didn't work out, though. And you made a pretty long one, too, sir. I liked what you all said. It could be worse. Supposing on top of it, that would be no good, Ron, would it? Ron, you did a great job, by the way, Ron. So I'm going to be meeting, actually, in a little while, I'm going to be meeting with the most really in the world, although now with the tariffs, the United States is by far the richest nation in the world, as you probably have been reading. But the rich, powerful nations, you know, tremendous, headed by some tremendous people in many cases. Some cases I would endorse, but I will tell you, some incredible people that really helped us make this all possible. So I'll be going. They might not be there by the time I get there, but we're going to give it a shot. But the journey we started back, the crushing defeat of the ISIS caliphate, to the monumental Abraham Accords, and ultimately to the historic ceasefire, of the same nations really played a very pivotal role, I have to tell you. Steve will tell you that. Jared will tell you that. Together, not just a hope that we can dream about, it's a reality we can build upon day by day, person by person, and nation. And because of that, the Middle East is finally ready to embrace its extraordinary potential. You have extraordinary potential. It should now be clear to everyone throughout the region that decades of fomenting terrorism and extreme jihadism and anti-Semitism have not worked. They haven't worked. They've been a disaster. They've just killed. They've backfired completely and totally. They've just totally backfired. Everything. Take worst case, it's turned out to be worse than that. They have not from Gaza to Iran. Nothing but misery, suffering, failure, and death. They've served not to weaken Israel, but very forces that did the most to foment this hatred. And it's, I mean, everybody that's tried it, irrelevant. Meanwhile, we've seen those nations that, beside their differences, reached across ancient divides, engagement are now among the most successful in the region, getting along with Israel, and they're doing great. And I nations that joined the Abraham Accords early on, and you'd all be doing me a favor, and in a little while, some other friends would love you all to, is this right, Jared? Join up. We have to join up and get together. You can have that whole thing filled out. We had a very weak administration, worst of our country by far. And Barack Obama was not far behind, by the way. And did nothing with this incredible document. You can fill them up. Now you have peace. You have people that really like Israel. I'll tell you what, and they like Israel a lot more today than weeks ago. Like, you've made a lot of, you've come back strong, because it was getting to be a little nasty out there in the world, and can't beat the war. I would say to Bibi, it's now time, and he understood it better than anybody. You know, the world's a very big place, and I've said a lot. I said, this piece of land is very small. You know, with that tiny, you look at a map even of just, not the world, the Middle East, and you have this little dot, and think of it. It's incredible. But the world is loving Israel again. And I said to Bibi, you know, and it's strong. And Ron, ultimately, the world wins. And we don't have to worry about that now. But there was getting to be, over the last few months, you know, the world wanted peace and Israel wanted peace. Everybody did. Everybody did. And what a victory it's been. If you would have gone on for 3, 4 more years, keep fighting, it was. The timing of this is brilliant. And I said, Bibi, you're going to be remembered for this far more than if you kept this thing going. Kill. It would be it would not be the same. And I just want to congratulate you for having the courage. That's it. We've won, and now our lives, and let's rebuild Israel and make it stronger and bigger and better. We're going to do that. Took a lot of guts. Palestinians could not be more clear. This is their chance to turn forever from the path of terror and violence. It's been extreme. Of the wicked forces of hate that are in their midst, and I think that's going to happen. I've met some people over the last couple of months that very much, and after tremendous pain and death and hardship, now is the time to concentrate on building their of trying to tear Israel down. We don't want that to happen again. Gazans must be on restoring the fundamentals of stability, safety, dignity, and economic development, so they can finally. Children really do deserve, after all these decades of horror. I intend to be a partner in this effort, to help, and we're going to do something that became unbelievably popular. Everybody wants to be on it. Board of Peace, okay? How about that? Is that a beautiful name? Like a board of peace. The only bad thing from my standpoint, every single nation involved has asked me to be the chair. And I'll tell you, I'm very busy. I didn't count on that. But you know what? If we do it, we'll do it right. And we have unbelievable, because you're going to need wealth. You're going to need wealth to rebuild things. And they have wealth like few people have wealth. I want to thank Muslim nations for the commitment that they've made to support a safe rebuilding of Gaza and beyond. I have many very wealthy countries that came up and said, we'll put up tremendous amounts of money to get rebuilt, Gaza, and I think that's going to happen. The power, they want dignity, they want to come forward, and they want to say, and I want to say who they are. What they're doing is going to be, I think, something that you're going to be very impressed with, Bibi, and you need that. You need the kind of economic, I want to see it work. And as much money as it will be, and it's a lot, as you can see, it's a lot. For these countries, it's relative to their worth. It's really a lot of money like most people could never even. It's not that much, especially because it ensures success and stability in the Middle East, which is what they want to see. So many in a little while, I think. I'm not sure. They may be gone. They may have taken their Boeing 747. I said, what kind of a plane do you fly? 747. I said, that's a large plane. Steve, do you think they've left on their their brand new Boeing 747s? I don't know. We're going to find out soon. It's going to be. There'll be 2 people left. And they'll be the 2 poorest ones. But it will be the wealthiest and most powerful group of nations to have assembled, that's waiting for us, is the wealthiest and most powerful group ever assembled at one time. There has never been a group only looking for good. They want good. They're going to do good. And as those commitments are made, I'm going to let the world know, because they really deserve to get the credit, and some of them probably won't want the credit, but they deserve it. It's more obvious than ever that the nations of this region should not be enemies or adversaries. You should be partners and eventually even friends, and that's what together you can stand against the forces of us. Yeah, you go ahead. That's an important point. Because you can stand against the forces of chaos that threatened all of your. A big threat, always a big threat, and unleash incredible prosperity and opportunity for all the people of these lands, and unleash numbers and success, the likes of which Israel has never been able to think of, because you're so. And you've done the right thing in defending yourself. You're not going to have to worry so much about it. You've won, and now you can build. I even thought possible. When you put that genius into doing something else, it's going to be something it's going to be a miracle. It's going to be amazing, and it already is in a true sense. But it'll be wonderful when you can spend time thinking about other than war. Also, to that end, it's my firm hope and dream, frankly, that together the will turn out to be everything that we thought they would. Those 4 countries were very, very brave in doing it. They did it at a very early point. Benefits unbelievably financially. And if you noticed, even in this bad period that we just went through, they all remember the Abraham Accords. They've done unbelievably well. And you know who you are, and I want to thank you. They've stayed because of loyalty, but they've also stayed because it was really good business. They've made a lot of money being members. I hope that I hope that every one of the countries that we're seeking, Jared, I hope they join quickly. No, nothing. Just join, get it. It's going to be a great peacemaker. It's really going to bring it together beyond any stream. So instead of building fortresses to keep enemies at bay, the nations of this region should be building infrastructure to weave together, because you've got to compete with the big world out there in commerce now. It's a different kind of competition. Instead of making weapons of this region should flow to schools and medicine, industry, and frankly, the new hot thing, artificial intelligence. It's it's a lot of intelligence you're going to have to be thrown off to pay back these. That's really the hot one. And I might say that the United States, a year ago, was a dead country. I heard it first from the King of Saudi Arabia. I then heard it from UAE. I heard it from Qatar. I heard it from many other countries. A year ago, the United States of America was a dead country. Now it's the hottest country anywhere in the world. It is the hottest. In fact, if you go back a year ago, well, once we had November 5th, we became hot because people got it. I would say November 5th was a time that we became really hot. But once couple of years, if I were in charge and the country was doing what they were, nobody was going to ask me to speak. Nobody asked Joe Biden to come up and speak. I get him down, I promise you. He didn't speak. He didn't speak, and he didn't speak well. But all of the countries, it could have, what we're doing now, it could have happened a long time ago, but it was strangled and set back almost irretrievably. Of Barack Obama and then Joe Biden. It was there was a hatred toward Israel. There was an absolute hatred. It started when President Obama signed the Iran nuclear deal. This was a disaster for Israel, and it was a disaster for everyone. Bibi Netanyahu came to the United States and worked so hard to try and get Obama not to do that deal. He worked, but it was like talking to a wall. I remember him telling me it was like talking to a wall. They wanted to go. It was Iran, frankly, over a lot of other good nations, but specifically Israel. And that was the beginning of a very bad. You had Obama go out, and the Iran nuclear deal turned out to be a disaster. And by the way, I terminated. And I was very proud to do it. Yet even to Iran has inflicted so much death on the Middle East, the hand of friendship and cooperation is open. I'm telling you, they want my life. I make deals. I'm good at it. I've always been good at it. And I know when they want. Even if they said, we don't want to make a deal. All right, they do. They want to make a deal, and we're going to see if we can do something, because this is crazy what's happening, and we're not more. Neither the United States nor Israel bear the people of Iran any hostility. We merely want to live in peace. Looming threats over our heads, and we don't want to even think in terms of nuclear destruction. It's not going to happen, never will happen. It would do more good for this part of the world than for Iran's leaders to renounce terror, stop threatening their neighbors, quit funding their proxies, and finally recognize Israel's right to existence. They have to do that. They have to do that. And to Iran, and as you know, this is not said out of weakness. There's no weakness. But I'm ready when you are, and it will be the best decision that Iran has ever made. And it's going to happen. It's going to happen. good people. I know a lot of Iranians in the United States. They're good people, smart, hardworking people. The story of fierce Israeli resolve and triumph since October 7th should be proof to the seek to destroy this nation are doomed to bitter failure. The state of Israel is strong and it will live forever. And that is why Israel is a vital ally of the United States of America. Israelis share our values, field one of the world militaries. You really do. You have an amazing, what a job you've done. And have one of the countries on earth. Those are just a few of the reasons why I'm proud to be the best friend that Israel has ever had, and they all say it. White House, they all say it. I guess it's true because everybody says it, baby. You said it today. Thank you. But it terminated the disastrous Iran nuclear deal, and ultimately I terminated Iran's nuclear program with things called B-2 bombers. And it was accurate, and it was a military beauty. I authorized the spending of billions of dollars with defense, as you know. And after years from many other American presidents, you know that, they kept promising. I never understood it until I got there. There was a lot of pressure put on. I didn't yield to the pressure. But every president for decades said, we're going to do it. The difference is I recognize the capital of Israel and move the American embassy to Jerusalem. Isn't that right, Miriam? Look at Miriam. She's back there. Stand up, Miriam. Miriam and Sheldon would come into the office. They'd call me. He'd call me. I think they had more. Look at her sitting there so innocently. She's got $60 billion in the bank. $60 billion, and she loves. I think she's saying no more. And she loves Israel, but she loves it. And they would come in, and her husband was a very aggressive man. But he was a very aggressive, very supportive of me. And he'd call up, can I come over and see you? I say, the United States. It doesn't work that way. He'd come in, but they were very responsible for so much. Thinking about Golan Heights, which is probably one of the greatest things to ever happen to Israel. Stand up, please. She really is. I mean, she loves this country. She loves this country. Her and her husband are so incredible. We miss him so. But I actually asked her, I'm going to get her in trouble with this, but I actually asked her once, I said, so Miriam, I know you love Israel. What do you love more? She refused to answer. That might mean Israel, I must say. We're being here. That's a great honor. Great honor. She's a wonderful woman. She is a great woman. I've always stood for community, and I always will. I love you. I'm always going to be with you. I guess maybe something could happen to change my mind. Somebody that's really and wants to do really bad things, but that's about it. We don't think we're going to have that happen. I hope we're not going to have that happen. And this man is a good man right here. Hey, I have an idea. Mr. President, why don't you give him a pardon? Give him a pardon. Come on. In the speeches, you probably know. But I happen to like this gentleman right over here, and it just seems to make so much sense. You know, this has been one of the greatest wartime presidents. This has been one of the greatest wartime presidents. Cigars and champagne, who the hell cares about that? All right, enough controversy for the day, right? Actually, I don't think it's very controversial. So popular. You are a very popular man. You know why? Because you know how to win. Over the past 2 years, I've met many of the families of the Israelis taken hostage and those. Well, I've looked into their eyes. I've seen the worst nightmares of their suffering, but I've also seen something else, the beautiful love of people, frankly, that hold things together, the love that gives you the courage to carry on through thousands of years of oppression and to emerge with the heart of David. It's the heart of David. It's that love that's defeated, built this incredible country and this unbelievable economy and forged one of the great democracies of the world. It's a true honor to stand here today and address this assembly in your ancient and eternal now capital. Have helped in that regard. This city and this nation stand as living proof that a much brighter future for this entire for thousands of years, Jerusalem has been a home to Christians, Jews, Muslims, and people of all and creeds. This is the holy center of the world's three great Abrahamic faiths. Adorned, it's the first time I've seen that word in a while, adorned with their sacred sites and a lot of visitors from every corner of the globe. But here between the Western Wall, Temple Mount, Calvary, people of every faith and background live, work, pray, serve, and raise their families side by side. This example is just one of the modern miracles that Israel has given to the world. Is in this chamber know better than anyone else the challenges of this harmony, and it's been easily won. It hasn't. It has not been. It's been so tough, but it has been, some say, a miracle. Look at your size. Look at your chances when it all started. And you know, if you think about it, for today, stronger today than at any time in history. Yet if safety, security, and coexistence can thrive here in the winding alleys and ancient paths of Jerusalem, then surely respect can flourish among the nations of the broader East. The God who once dwelled among his people in this city still calls Scripture the turn from evil and do good, to seek peace and pursue it. So he still knows and valleys of his magnificent creation, and he still writes hope into the hearts of his children all over the world. After 3,000 years of pain and conflict, the people of Israel have never given up from the threats of all sorts of threats. You want the promise of Zion. You want the promise of and love and God. And the people of America have never lost faith in the promise of a great and blessed future for all. From the very first day that modern Israel was founded, we have stood together through thick and thin attacks, and through victory and defeat, through glory and heartache. We have built industries together. We have made discoveries together, evil together, and we have waged war together. And perhaps most beautifully of all, we have made peace together. And gods, we have done the impossible and brought our hostages home. So now we're going to forge a future that is worthy of our heritage, a legacy that all the people of this region can be proud of. New bonds of friendship, cooperation, and commerce will join to Dubai, Haifa to Beirut, Jerusalem to Damascus, and from Israel to Egypt to Qatar, from India to Pakistan, from Indonesia to Iraq, from Syria to Bahrain, to Jordan, the United Arab Emirates to Oman, and Armenia to Azerbaijan, the war that I just settled. We are going to have hope, harmony, opportunity, and happiness here and geographic center of the entire world. That's what you are. Israel, America, and all of the nations of the safer, stronger, greater, and more prosperous than ever before. And I want to thank you all once again for this exceptional honor. This has been truly an honor. It's seldom that I do this. And I love Israel. I'm with you all the way. You will be bigger, stronger, and more loving than ever before. Thank you very much. God bless you. God bless the United States. And God bless the Middle East. Thank you, everybody. Good luck. Thank you very much.
אני מודה לנשיא ארצות הברית של אמריקה. חברות וחברי הכנסת, תם סדר-היום.